Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into one of the most incredible journeys any of us ever takes, the one that happens inside our own heads. We're talking about how our minds learn, grow, and figure out the world. So, let's get right into it.
I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about how wild that is? A newborn baby can't do much more than stare at things, and yet somehow, that same person can grow up to solve mind-bending puzzles, or even design a complicated app. Well, that amazing transformation, that's exactly what we're going to unpack.
Right, so what do we actually call this process? The official term is cognitive development, and you can just think of it as the story of how we become who we are, mentally speaking. It's the journey of our thinking, learning, and reasoning from day one.
At its core, it's the slow and steady evolution of our mental toolkit. You know, all those skills we rely on every single day, our ability to focus, to remember things, to tackle problems, and, of course, to communicate with language. It's not like a switch flips overnight. It's a gradual building process that, believe it or not, lasts our entire lives.
And look, this isn't just some abstract topic for academics. Not at all. Understanding how our minds develop is really about understanding ourselves, why we think the way we do, how we learn best, and even how we can keep getting smarter.
Now, if you want a map for this journey, the classic starting point is the work of a super influential psychologist named Jean Piaget. He gave us a foundational framework, a set of stages that really helps us see the major shifts in our thinking as we grow up.
Piaget's map lays out this really fascinating progression. It kicks off with the sensory motor stage, where a baby is basically a little scientist learning through cause and effect. If I shake this, it makes noise. Then you move into the pre-operational stage, where language blossoms, but the world pretty much revolves around them. After that, we hit the concrete operational stage, where logic starts to kick in for real-world things. And finally, formal operations, where we can think about big abstract ideas like justice or love.
And here's a perfect, everyday example of that pre-operational stage. When you see a little kid having a full-blown, serious conversation with their doll and they really believe that doll is alive and listening, that's Piaget's theory in real life. It's that magical phase where imagination and reality are beautifully intertwined.
Now, let's jump forward a few years. Contrast that with a teenager who's questioning everything, arguing about politics, thinking deeply about what's right and wrong. They're not just reacting to what's in front of them, they're analyzing systems and thinking about hypotheticals. That massive leap in thinking is what Piaget called formal operational thought.
But you know how science works? It never stands still. Piaget gave us an amazing foundation, but it wasn't the final word. Modern research from neuroscience and psychology shows us that the real story of our mental growth is, well, a little messier, a lot more fluid than a simple four-step guide.
So here's the big shift. Piaget saw development almost like a rigid ladder. Everyone climbs the same rungs in the exact same order. The modern view, though, is much more like a winding path that's unique to every single person. It's less about hitting predictable stages and way more about a personal journey that's shaped by everything that makes you, you. So what shapes that unique path for each of us? It's this whole mix of things, right? The culture you grow up in is huge. Your environment, your personal experiences, they all literally carve out pathways in your brain. And this also explains something we all know to be true. You can be an absolute genius in one thing, like music or math, while still kind of lagging in another area. It's not a one-size-fits-all process.
Okay, so this is all really fascinating, but what can we actually do with this knowledge? This is the practical part. Let's talk about some real, actionable ways we can support and boost our cognitive skills, not just for kids, but for ourselves at any age.
These are some really powerful science-backed strategies. Just encouraging curiosity is like pouring fuel on the fire for your brain. Giving it new things to chew on, books, puzzles, travel, builds new connections. And this next one is huge, metacognition. It's literally just the practice of thinking about how you think. And just as important is creating the right conditions. That means reducing overstimulation from screens and making sure our learning spaces feel safe and calm, because stress and anxiety are the ultimate enemies of learning.
And if you take away just one thing today, let it be this. Our mental growth does not stop when we hit adulthood. It doesn't even come close. Our brains are incredibly plastic, which means we are capable of growing, changing, and learning new things
for our entire lives. So all of this kind of brings the question back to you, doesn't it? As you go about your day, think about it. Where are you on your own cognitive journey? What habits are helping you think and learn clearly? And what might be holding you back? Because the map of the mind is always being redrawn, and you are the one holding the pen.